All right, as we continue getting ready for the baseball season, which is just around the corner. In fact, it's like almost upon us now. It's a pleasure to welcome to the show the manager of the Baltimore Orioles, Brandon Hyde, Santa Rosa's own, coming back to do the show. Brandon, I really appreciate the time. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you having me on. It's nice talking to you, and yeah, I'm excited to get the season started.
Yeah. So word is you were a pretty good hooper back in the day. Is this true?
A long time ago. In high school, I could shoot it a little bit. Yeah. Montgomery High School.
Yep.
Pretty good team. My junior year, 91, senior year, 92. Good players. Pretty good area at that time from a basketball standpoint. And, lost to Jason Kidd in the Oakland Coliseum in the NCS. I think it was semifinals or finals back in '92. But yeah, that was my favorite sport growing up. All I did was play basketball all day, every day, all the way through my childhood, and I miss it. I miss playing basketball.
So is it also true that your junior year, you beat the Berry boys at De La Salle in the playoffs?
No, my senior year. No,
okay.
You're right. My junior year. Brent, yeah. Drew Berry was the senior. They had Joe McClain went to Arizona.
Oh, okay, Joe, yeah.
Yeah, Joe. Drew Berry, Armani Toomer was on that team. That was kind of a signature win for our high school at that point.
God, that team was loaded with athletes. Holy smokes.
They were really deep. I'm telling you, Bay Area. We used to play in some Bay Area city leagues too at USF. My dad would sign us up, and a handful of us we kind of form a team and go down there and play. There was good players all over the place in the Bay Area at that time.
You might remember the team that was around my time, the Cloverdale team with Craig McMillan and Craig Bergman back then. That team was stacked.
That team, my dad used to take me. I remember watching Craig at Pioneer High School in the Sonoma County Classic. I was probably in 5th or 6th grade, and then we went down and watched them in the Oakland Coliseum. Also, that was a big deal for our area to watch a small high school like that with Craig. Craig was a legend. Still is, but a legend that time of somebody you wanted to implement or somebody you wanted to copy how he played the game of basketball.
Yeah, he's a legend now for cooking fish inside a dorm room, which I mean, you want to talk about, Brandon, you want to talk about bad. We shared a dorm. We each had our own room, shared restroom, and it's hot as hell. Obviously, it's Tucson, so it's hot in there. And all of a sudden, I smell fish. I'm like, what the hell is that? And I go in the bathroom, and he's like scaling the fish in the shower. I'm like, bro, what are you doing, you hillbilly? You're killing me here. Like, I'm dying over here. And he's like, of course it's Clover. Mick just looks at me like, what? Like, what do you mean, what? That's not normal.
What a great player.
Basketball player.
What a great player and what a great coach he is right now.
Yeah. No, he's done a great job up at Santa Rosa. So let's talk a little bit about the team as we head into the season. Now, you guys are a little banged out with Rodriguez not ready to go, Bradish not ready to go, Henderson not quite ready to go. There may be some others. Gibson might not be ready to go. Talk about that a little bit and kind of how you try to navigate this thing and just hold it steady while you get all the troops back.
Yeah, it's kind of a next man up mentality. I mean, we got pretty injury. We got caught with the injury bug last year a little bit, and for us to still win 91 games and get in the postseason, especially in the AL East, I was proud of that. We had a lot of guys get hurt last year, and like Bradish had Tommy John. He's going to be back sometime this summer. We're excited about that. We're getting Batista back, who he missed all of the year last year. Gibby, we just signed Gibson. He'll be with us probably the second month of the season. Grayson, I'm hoping it's not too long. Probably miss a little bit of time, but if you just look around the league, everybody's kind of dealing with the same thing. Yeah. The pitcher's injuries is, there'll be more tomorrow and the next day. It's kind of the way our sport is right now, and that's why you need to create depth. And happy with the 5 starters we have going right now. I think they're going to give us a chance to win, and hopefully we get some reinforcements.
We were talking about that yesterday. I was talking to Dave Fleming, Giants broadcaster, and we were talking about how there is more technology now, more knowledge now. Training staffs have grown in size over the years. Pitchers are protected more. They don't pitch as many innings. They're trying to keep the stress off the pitchers. Yet these pitchers seem to be getting hurt at a higher rate than back when I was growing up watching. Like, it was huge news of one of the big pitchers of that era got hurt. You just expected them to go buck 80, 200, maybe 220, 230. But it's just weird to me. I understand why they're doing it, but you would think what it would lead to is healthier pitchers, and we're just not getting that. What am I missing here? Like, why is there that break there where we seem to have all this modern stuff, yet guys are getting hurt even more, seemingly?
With the amount of everybody's got performance teams around these guys, in every sport now. That's how it is. With nutrition as well as mental to the physical performance teams that everybody's invested in. But yeah, there's more injuries probably now than ever before. I think that the question is, I'm not a medical expert, but obviously I'm in the sport. I think that there's a huge deep dive into what the issue is, and I think you can trace it back to just what kids are doing these days, and the travel ball and the amount they throw. And I'm a travel ball dad right now, and I'm a dad to a sophomore in high school that does play a lot of baseball and plays way more than I did as a kid. So I think the training and the amount that they throw from an early age is way more than they did in our age. And then also, as they progress, now there's way more private lessons. Everybody's got a pitching guy. You can go to any sort of, there's pitching farms that you go to where you're maxing out and they're training you how to throw hard. And I just think that a lot of kids and a lot of young adults, arms move too fast. And then as you get into college and professional baseball, the way that they train now is just so much different than past. I was talking to Charlie Morton about this the other day. He's one of my starters. He's 41 years old, 17 years in the big leagues. And what his first 10 years were like compared to the last few from a training standpoint, just way different. At 2 o'clock, used to go in the big leagues. And when I broke into the big leagues 15 years ago, you go in the afternoon, pitchers would be running poles, pitchers would be running bleachers. No, you don't see that anymore. It's all about power and high performance and short spurts and things like that. Is that equaling more injuries? I don't know. I do know that people are getting hurt more, it feels like.
Yeah.
But they're also throwing way harder than they did 10 years ago. And so hopefully we can try to figure this thing out as an industry, because it is unfortunate.
Yeah, I think it's weird too, because we were talking about it with basketball yesterday too. I went back like to 1988, 89, back when I first started playing, and the top 20 players, there were 12, 13, maybe even 14, 15 of those guys that played 80 games, and a couple of them, like 4 or 5, played 82. Now nobody plays 82, nobody plays 80. Guys are playing 75, and I just find it I just find it fascinating why we have more, yet it's less of these guys on the bump, on the court, whatever it is. But hopefully they'll be able to figure it out, because I think that is what, to me anyways, in basketball and baseball more so, the analytics is taking away a little bit of the entertainment, because I come to see the pitchers, I come to see the players, and if I show up at a basketball game and Steph isn't playing, or Giannis or Joker, I'm like, what are we doing? They're just sitting out. Like, I want to see these guys. I remember Clemens and Stewart pitching to the Coliseum. Like, that's what we want to see, but we're not. And I don't blame the teams per se, because they want to win. They're doing what they think is in their best interest. But as a sport, sometimes I feel like the analytics is kind of overwhelmed, or kind of taken over the entertainment aspect. And I think we need to kind of figure that out a little bit.
Totally agree. The load management stuff is in our sport also. And, I get a daily sheet. Every manager does. Every gets a daily sheet on how these guys are moving, their sprint speeds, all these type of things. That all the information that we get is that, and these guys are bigger, stronger, faster than ever before too. I think that's what the NBA too. So it's just the athlete is so big and strong now. Than back when me and you were playing high school basketball, we're wearing short shorts and not lifting many weights. That's the bottom line. But able to play all day, every day too. So, I don't know what the right thing to do there is.
Yeah. Well, no, except for when we wear the short shirts, I got the chafing. That's when my day ended. I was like, okay, we're
No doubt
toast
about that
now.
as well.
So talk about the decision to move left field in. I mean, it used to be the Polo Grounds out there. I was like, you cannot hit a home run to left field in Camden. I go, this play, it went from like home runs flying out to like nobody could hit a home run. I guess you guys decided to split the difference a little bit. Let's make it accessible without making it a bandbox. Was that kind of the idea?
Yeah, I understood the reason why they moved the wall back. Um, in the American League East, the way the ball travels in the summertime in Baltimore, and it's
Yeah.
360 something in left center field gap, balls were just flying out of there. And you see lefties miss hit balls the other way for homers. That's a problem. And also, to compete in our division, you got to be able to have pitching, and to attract pitchers in a really really hitter friendly ballpark is not the easiest thing to do. So I understood why they moved the wall back. Now, do they take it a little too far? Probably. And I think that they're correcting it this year by kind of, like you said, splitting the difference. I know that our hitters are really happy about it. Uh,
Bet they are.
it was frustrating. It was really really frustrating for our guys. We lost a lot of homers. We lost some homers in the postseason last year. We scored one run in two
Remember
games.
that.
We lost 2 or 3 homers. And I think it's going to play more fair now, and I think our guys are going to get guys that square a ball up to the left field are going to get rewarded for what should be a homer in almost every other place.
Is there? I haven't watched you guys enough. I do watch the Orioles, but I haven't seen Rushman play enough. But is there any kind of comparison there with him and Buster Posey at a young age? And look, Buster's probably a borderline.
Yeah.
I think he's a Hall of Famer, but we'll see about that. So I don't want to say he is, but you look at him and the way he handles his staff and kind of the maturity in which he plays with. And again, I'm not that close, so I don't watch all the games, and I'm curious your thoughts on it.
No, that's where they're similar for me. Yeah, and it's hard to compare anybody to Buster. Buster had a Hall of Fame career and 3 World Series championships, and was the leader on a really, really good team for a great era of Giants baseball. Hopefully, Adley can be that. I think Adley has the opportunity, the chance to be that kind of player. He had a tough second half last year, but besides that, the way his career has gone so far, he is working his way toward a Buster Posey type of career, and it's because of it is about the way he goes about his business. It's the energy with how he plays. It's how he works so well with the pitching staff. How he's a smart player. The ability to take a really good at bat, a really tough in tough spots and come through. Just a leader on the field. So that's kind of where I understand those similarities and see why people say that. But like I said, Buster's going to be in the Hall of Fame, but I think Adley's on a great path, and he's going to be a really good player in this league for a long time.
And what is it that we see Gunnar Henderson when he plays, and how good he is? What don't we see that makes him the player that he is?
It's his makeup. He's just a real special kid. I mean, he's 23 years old, so it's a year out of college, with being one of the best players in our league. It's 6'4", 230. He flies with a great arm and every tool in the toolbox he has. It's the mental part for me, and how determined he is, and how confident he is in a cocky way and in the right way, where he literally doesn't think anybody should get him out ever. He's just not awed by any sort of moment, and I have to try to tone him down a little bit. He thinks that he should be the best player in the league, and there's just this refuse to fail type of attitude that he has that nobody really sees. But he plays with his hair on fire. He's so easy to coach, and he's gonna be great. He's already a really really good player. This guy's gonna be like he is right now, cover on video games.
No, he's special. There's no doubt about it. How tough was it last year for Jackson Holiday? Because I can't remember somebody who I knew about and people that follow baseball knew about and anticipated a call up. Maybe Bryce Harper was the last one that we're thinking, oh, we can't wait to see this guy come up. And there's just so much pressure because you expect Like, is he going to get a home run his first at bat? Is he going to get a home run every at bat?
Uh-huh.
And I know players say, why just go out there and play? But you feel stuff. I mean, you feel stuff that's external stuff that you don't want to, but it happens. I'm wondering how much of that, because I know you brought him up, called him back, and then he came up at the end of the year. How much of that is just trying to get him to like say, look, you just got to do your thing and go out there. And maybe, having gone through it for a year, that'll take care of itself. But I can't imagine what he was going through early on. I mean, no one knew what he looked like, but everybody knew his name. When he got called up, everybody wanted to watch an Orioles game.
Right. Yeah. Unfair to him. That's how I
Yep.
felt the whole time last year, starting in spring training. I just felt the attention for a 20-year-old that's 2 years out of high school from Stillwater, Oklahoma, with his dad being a major league great player for a long time.
Yeah.
Kind of people, the expectations, and he brought it upon himself by putting up ridiculous minor league numbers. So the way he
How
flew
dare
through
he?
the way he flew through the minor league system, people just assumed that he was just gonna step right in and continue that. And the gap between the minor leagues and the major leagues is so big right now that and the attention and the expectations and the pressure and everything you're dealing with these guys have to deal with social media wise and everything else. It's a lot to handle, and it was unfair to him. I remember we were playing in Fenway. He's like 2 weeks into his big league career. We're on Apple TV. They're following him with a camera, literally wherever he went. And I'm just sitting back, and I'm just like, this kid just needs to go play. This isn't even fair. He can't even walk anywhere without a camera in his face. So that's been the focus this spring. He's had a heck of a spring. He's played great, just because I think the attention's kind of off him a little bit, and the pressure of him having to really contribute to a good team is kind of off. Where it's just now he's just able to go play and feel more comfortable as you could be at 21 years old in the big leagues. And he played that way in spring, so hopefully he carries it through the season.
What did you notice last year about did we lose? There he is.
Sorry about.
What'd you notice last year about how teams approach playing you? Because the year before, 101 wins, and before that, it was kind of like, oh, I'm playing the Orioles. I'm playing the Orioles, and now all of a sudden, you're one of the teams that's expected to make the playoffs, and one of the better teams in the AL East. How did they approach you last year versus the previous years? Is it like, hey, we better tighten things up? We got the Orioles.
Yeah, I think this division is different because of any other division because of the major markets. So the Boston, Toronto, New York, and the superstars throughout the middle of the orders. And then you add in Tampa, which is one of the best pitching staffs, and just historically the last 20 years have just been able to pitch and play in a weird place in the Trop. And so it's a unique division from the star power that's in this division and the payrolls. So when you're talking about last year, we were a team that was $100 million payroll team, and you're going against $300 million payroll teams. You got to be able to when you get able to pitch to them, you got to be able to compete with them. Nobody took us for granted anymore. Starting really 2 years ago, but nobody took us for granted anymore. They understood how athletic they were. We were really left-handed, so we saw everybody's left-hander. We saw the best two left-handers in their bullpen every single night. So you could see the teams were setting the rotation a little bit to when they come in to face us. Those type of things I noticed that I didn't in previous years.
Let me get your thoughts on a couple rule changes that may or may not be coming. Robo ump.
Yeah.
I guess that says it all.
It's real. You know what? I was just talking to Buster Olney about this because we just went through this ABS system in spring training.
Yeah.
And we probably had 15 games with it. I think it's a really good fan experience, honestly. I think it's, when a guy misses when it's a close pitch and they challenge and it goes to the Jumbotron, everybody's looking at it and there's an ooh or ah, it's a thing. And it's kind of interesting, honestly. I've been in this league long enough now, and I have so many relationships with some of these umpires that I almost feel a little bit bad for them, because I think that it's going to put even more spotlight on them. And these young umpires that are coming up are so good already because they've gone through so much of this ABS training throughout the minor leagues that I'm a little bit sensitive about it. But I do understand the fan experience of it, and I think it's I think there's a chance it's going to get implemented. So
yeah,
we'll see what happens. But it was the first time I saw it this year, and I did think it was really interesting.
You know what I can't wait for? I can't wait till we implement this. And every time a batter thinks a ball was called a strike, he looks over the dugout and goes, it's like, oh, well, I get so much of that in the NBA every time. It's like the whole game now. It's like, let's challenge. I'm like, because I used to be total. I was like, I'm for replay. I'm for all technology. Bring it on. And then along with technology comes unintended consequences of slowing the game down and just, disrupting the flow of the game. Challenges that should take a minute that take 4 minutes. I mean, that's my thing. I've always said if it takes a minute, then obviously it's not conclusive. Let's just move on and keep playing the ball game. But I think our fascination with getting everything exactly right in sports where players don't get everything exactly right, I've moved away from it. Like, I still think there should be a replay booth where somebody looks and goes, you know what, that was wrong. Like the Denkinger play. Like, you know what, he did that. No, he was safe, or he was out, whatever. But the whole replay now, again, it's getting to a point where I'm like, God, is this really what we bargained for? I don't know.
The replay system in general is taking it to a place where it wasn't. There's things that are happening now that's not intended. Where a guy comes off the bag by a half inch and you keep a tag on. Those kind of things. Those are the kind of things that wasn't the reason for why they started in the first place. This ABS system now, this is super. It is super fast, and I was really surprised by how fast it is. I mean, it goes right to the board, and it's in 5-10 seconds. It shows you if it's a ball or strike. So the game does move, but what it does is it does take the human element out of the game, and the fact of and they're trying to get the game to be quicker, which I totally understand too. The game is going to be slower because the strike zone is going to be small. We saw it in spring training. The strike zone is smaller than ever before because these guys do not want to miss any pitch off the edge. And so I think it's a little bit be careful what you wish for on this. But I agree with you. Like, in football and basketball, you do want to get the big calls right. And you don't want to have the umpires determine the outcome of the game. But I think they're still working through the process of it.
Yeah, I agree. All right, golden batter rule.
Oh, I don't know. I've actually never even seen that, so I'm not sure how that's actually even going to work. I mean,
they can't do that, I mean, no, I just kind of brought that up because they brought it. Baseball brought it up, but I'm like, I know you guys got to be joking, right? We don't have a 10-point shot in basketball. Like, now you're just tricking up the game for tricking it up sake.
Yeah, no, I think that's going to be.
Here comes Ohtani. Here comes Betts. Wait, here comes Ohtani again.
That's what it feels like already when you play the Dodgers or you play the Yankees. You feel like Judge is hitting every time it's a big spot. So, exactly. No, I don't think that's going to happen.
No, I don't think it's going to happen either. Do you remember your first ejection?
I actually wasn't managing. I was a bench coach. I got tossed one time for Joe Madden. Yeah.
Did you really? Yeah. So, what were the circumstances? Who was the ump?
The ump he's retired now.
Is he?
Yeah, I didn't like Wilson Contreras was our catcher in Chicago. It was 2018, and I just felt like the umpire was giving him a really hard time. He took his mask off on him, and I kind of lost it from the dugout. So, but I didn't get fined. I don't know what happened. They must have felt I was right. But
they must have felt you're in the right.
I do have a few a year, unfortunately, that kind of just happens. Usually I'm not proud of it when I see the YouTube videos or people talking about it after the fact. But it's part of the game.
Well, we don't get that type of entertainment anymore, right? We don't get Earl Weaver. We don't get Lou Piniella. We don't get Tommy Lasorda. I told Steve Kerr that I go, before you retire, do me one favor. Give me one Tommy Lasorda rant. Just one Tommy Lasorda rant or Lee Elia, something like that. I go, we just don't we don't get that anymore. Like managers aren't afforded that opportunity to do that kind of stuff. I go, just it's a different age, a little more sensitive. And the teams are like corporations now. They're like big corporations. They're not like mom and pop shops, something like that, where you can just go ahead and kind of do. It's not didn't seem quaint anymore. But I do miss those days. I'll sit around some nights, Brandon, and just like I'm going to listen to Time of the Sorter for 20 minutes and just listen to old rants. They're the best.
Go listen
Dave
to
Kingman.
The Earl Weaver in the World Series one's one of the best of all time. This doesn't leave the field. It's
is that the one where he was arguing with the first base ump?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Whenever I get tossed in Baltimore and if I do a little something, I mean the place does go nuts. I mean they
does it?
They love they wish for the Earl Weaver days for sure.
I don't know if that was McClellan at first base. Maybe it was. I just remember him being at first base. I know why they sent you here. They sent you here to fuck us. That's what they sent you here
for. That's what it was. That's exactly the right one.
All right, a couple more and then we'll let you run. We appreciate it. Do you remember your worst loss as a sports fan? Like your most hurtful loss?
Well, for me, it was in the postseason last year as a manager.
No, as a fan. I know you're a fan of your team, but you're also managing.
Worst sports
like
loss?
Growing up as a kid.
I was such a big Niners and Giants fan growing up. I'm trying to think of a really bad loss that they had that hit me. I got pretty lucky being a Niners fan. They were.
Yeah, you did.
There was a couple NFC teams.
Were you around for the Niners-Giants loss in the playoffs? Niners,
Montana,
Redskins at the time?
when Jim Burt knocked Montana out.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely in on all those days, watching all those games. And I was diehard, too. My dad, too. We were big-time Giants and Niners fans. I think.
All right, what do you remember?
No, you know what? The Giants A's World Series. That was the tough. I wanted the Giants to win that World Series.
Yeah, that whole World Series was funky.
Yeah.
That was just a funky World Series. All right, favorite dish growing up?
Favorite food?
That what mom made. Yep.
Ooh. My mom cooked well. She made really good Italian food. So any sort of pasta. I still love pasta. I love Italian food now. She had great breakfast, so pancakes in the morning a lot. Yeah, I'm going to go pancakes in the morning.
Love pancakes. Yeah. Love pancakes. All right, last one. What was the most severe punishment you received from your parents, and what did you do to earn that punishment?
I'll tell you what. I have two of the most amazing parents you could possibly have. Both were school teachers, 3rd and 4th grade. Retired now. They were the most mild-mannered Sonoma County style parenting. I honestly grew up not having many rules. It was more of if I ever disappointed my parents. I never got.
Disappointment's the worst.
And I had many times where I was not. I could have gotten in trouble. But it was more of the look from my dad when I came home, or my mom asking if she could talk to me about because something was really bothering her that I did. And when she had that kind of tone, that was worse than any sort of yelling or screaming or anything like that. The one that sticks out with me was I probably in 3rd or 4th grade I crossed a really really busy street with a basketball on a bike and a radio going to play pickup basketball at Proctor Terrace, in which I was not allowed to cross that street on my bike, and that was a long talking to for safety reasons after. But there were many times in high school that I should have gotten in trouble, which I didn't. So I appreciate them so much for the way that they handled me.
Oh, that is beautiful. Hey, I really appreciate you making the time. It was great to catch up with you. Hopefully we can check in with you throughout the course of the season. I know it's super busy when it's baseball season. You guys got a lot on your plate, but thank you so much for making time. That was a real treat.
Anytime, Tom. It's great to talk to you, and just let me know. I'm more than happy to be on.
Yeah, and when you guys come out to the Bay Area, come see you.
Sacramento this year too.
Well, maybe not then.
It's gonna be hot.
See you, Brandon.
Okay, see you.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.